Mr. Metcalf.
You got to identify yourself.
I'm sorry, Ben Winograd from the American Immigration Council. How long did you
Morning.
serve as an immigration judge?
I was there 2 years, 3-4 months, sir.
Okay, and how exactly did you become an immigration judge?
I was appointed by Attorney General Gonzalez. I had, and this is a matter of record, by the way, sir, I did not want to become an immigration judge. I had been interviewed for the position of deputy counsel or deputy director of the Executive Office for U.S. Attorneys. I'm a prosecutor by training. For whatever reason, I didn't get the job, although I know that the director wanted me. But the apparatus at the Justice Department, informed by the fact that I was a senior attorney who had lots of trial experience and who knew how to behave himself, as I was told, because they were having problems with judges who were abusive to aliens, and that is a matter of record. I was asked to be a judge, and as an appointee, I felt more than a degree of loyalty, a strong degree of loyalty to do as I was asked to do to help out where I could. I accepted the appointment, and that's how I became a judge.
Mark, if I could ask a little bit more, because we need to wrap up because I want to respect people's times. One thing you didn't talk enough about, I think, was your recommendations for changing the court. Not just the honest statistics. In that sense, that's sort of good government stuff that ought to happen. But what you also recommended, some basic reforms in the way the immigration court functions. I wonder if you could just kind of briefly outline that, because I think that's an important part of the report we haven't talked enough about. In other words, what is an Article I court and how is that different and why would that be better?
Thank you, Mark. An Article I court is a court created by Congress to fulfill a specific enumerated power. Territorial courts are often Article I courts. In fact, almost always are. And you still have them in existence. By the way, the U.S. Tax Court is an Article I court created under Congress's power to tax. Congress has what's called the responsibility to create a uniform rule of naturalization under the Constitution, under Section 8. And it does so with what it considers to be the present system, which has basically been created by the executive, not the Congress. But to answer the question further, Article I courts always hear public cases. They are courts which hear nothing from the government except its position that the person called into court, the citizen, the private citizen, has a tax debt in dispute, has, in the instance of territorial courts, has committed crimes within a territory that is not yet a state. That's an Article I court, and it fulfills a specific enumerated power of the Constitution. Since immigration is a specific enumerated power of Congress, I should say, not the Constitution, but of Congress, I advocate the creation of an Article I court serving the terms of 15 years, appointed by the President, approved by the Congress or by the Senate, whose reporting, if Article III courts are any indication, Article III court being the federal district courts, circuit courts, and Supreme Court and the International Court of Trade, those are all Article III courts. Their reporting is transparent to a fault. Their reports are exhaustive, and you can understand what they are doing. And that's why I believe that would be a very good way to move at this time. I want to add something. You all got in your drafts today, I said $71 million could be received from reform of costs and fees. The figure is $13 million, and that's using only the trial courts. So correct that will be correct. There's a transposition of figures there. Also want to say this to you, sir, in your response. In response, not in defense of myself and not in defense of a process by which I received appointment. But once I got to Miami with the good tutelage and good advocacy that I received, within 7 or 8 months of my appointment, the American Bar Association standards were used to evaluate judges. When I got that's on a scale of 0 to 100. the Miami Bar, the South Florida Immigration Lawyers Association, ranked me 91 points out of 100. I worked very, very hard to be a very good judge. And when Mrs. Ibarra appeared in front of me, her statement to me was, "Judge, you considered all the facts. You were looking for ways to help people if they would adopt certain codes of, or a line of conduct." And that's the way I looked at it. When a person has been here so many years, there's no reason to throw them out because they have, as she put it, shoplifted. I don't consider that to be a reason to remove someone unless they don't reform their conduct, in which case it's a proper thing to do is to remove them. We've got enough criminals of our own.
So why did you resign from the bench then?
I was forced out.
Why?
I was forced out because the means by which I had been appointed called into question why I had been involved, as they put it, in recommending to the Attorney General's office people who were interested in being immigration attorneys. Now, the report found that I had done nothing wrong. In fact, the people whose names were sent up, sir, were people who were recommended to me by immigration attorneys and judges. They were the president of the South Florida Bar or Immigration Lawyers Association, who was at that time Lourdes Esquivel Martinez. Some of them I didn't meet. These were people who were considered excellent attorneys, and I sent their names up to the Attorney General's office at the Attorney General's office request. We also told them, or I told them rather, you need to apply just as anyone else would. But because the judges and the attorneys who are practicing before me have confidence in you, I'm going to send your name up. That's how my name came into the investigation. And as the investigation was concluded, it was found that I had done nothing wrong. But I determined that my better course of action was to leave the court and without saying anything, which is exactly what I did, and was not to take pot shots at anybody, but was to spend 3 years writing what is wrong with the courts and how we can improve them and provide justice both to American citizens and to those who wish to be citizens, rather than to allow the present system to continue in its very dysfunctional way. If you will note in my report, you will find that no names are mentioned, none. I'm not here to ruin someone's career. I'm here to talk about a system that is dysfunctional and needs to be fixed.
Okay,
And-
Mark, can I just address this very quick? Look,
Sure.
look, this is a distraction, okay? This gentleman is talking about an IG report decision. I can tell you, I looked at this, used to work at the Justice Department, I talked to people involved, and the problem that Mr. Metcalf had was that he was asked to recommend people for immigration judge slots, and the mistake he made was he actually recommended experienced immigration lawyers to be in those slots, okay? And that should be the end of that.
And by the way, no one was ever asked, are you Republican? Are you Democrat? Did you vote for the president? Nothing like that. The only thing that was ever asked was, are you interested in being a judge, and do you have the talent, skill? These people told me they did. Their names were sent up. That's all that happened.
I want to respect people's time. I assume people will be around and to be accosted afterwards. I'm not sure what people's airline schedules are. But as Mark alluded to, there's a longer version. This is sort of a boiled down version of a longer paper with even more footnotes and in exhaustive detail that's kind of still in process. So there's, yeah, well, exactly. So there's a lot more, there's a lot more behind this. This is sort of the tip of the iceberg. And I really think this is a good start of a longer discussion about how our immigration appeals system, our immigration court system needs to be, it needs attention. I mean, at the very least, and this is not, as Hans pointed out, it just doesn't happen. It's never part of the debate, and this, I hope, is kind of a start of getting more attention in the policy debate to how our immigration court systems work and how they might or might not be changed. So this report's online at our site, cis.org, and thanks for coming.
It's an amazing book. I mean,
Thank you, and thank you, folks.
The research is just amazing.
Well done.